A big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video. If you need a website or a domain, go to squarespace.com/James for 10% off your first purchase. Moody enough? I don't know. I was hoping for a bit more moisture and slightly darker clouds. Although that'll make no sense unless you watched last week's video. Also, how good do I look? I mean, I know you don't watch this channel for purposes of fashion, but I think the word you're looking for is panache. I don't know what that was. Please don't unsubscribe. Anyway, yes, I'm going to try and get a shot here. Basically, I'm going to start all of my my photography adventures in Snowdonia over the next few months here until I get a shot that I want. Been here multiple times, haven't managed it yet, so maybe today. Although, as I say, it could be a bit moodier. I'm trying with and without a polarizer, as you might expect. Polarizer's not doing a whole lot other than taking some of the glare off of these ferns, which actually does make quite a sizable difference. I don't know which I prefer. I'll see when I get home. But as I say, I don't actually know that today is moody enough. Again. Oh, just kick things off with a real nice bike-friendly part of the route. Ooh. Actually, this isn't even the route. Right, a few jobs today. Number one, dress absolutely fabulously. Tick. Number two, take some photos. Number three, talk about my favourite focal length while I ride my bike around. Where are you going? This camera sometimes just sways. While I do a loop that sort of takes in the Gwydir Forest and the Ogwen Valley. Although I've got to get a move on really, because I've got to pick up Noah from nursery at 4 o'clock. So time's ticking. Anyway, photo number one, I came for a walk with Emily and Noah the other week, and I saw this stile and this really beautiful tree with all of the berries, and I thought there is a photo here. So I'm trying to work out what that photo is. Now, if I come back here somewhere, I think there's a good opportunity to take this photo at my favourite focal length or my favourite focal range, which, as I said a couple of weeks ago, is somewhere between 40mm and 50mm. Now, there is a nice area of distinguished path here, as you can see, and a nice area closer to the stile, but it kind of runs out and there's a patch of grass just there, which means that I'm not necessarily fussed about using the path as a lead-in line because, well, as I say, it runs out. It's a bit messy. So instead, what I think I'll do is take the opportunity to introduce some colour with the gorse on the left-hand side of the image, and maybe I'll shoot at a focal length, which means that I just get that bottom bit of path. And I might even try to just chop out the top of the hill from the shot, given that there's not an awful lot happening in the sky. Right, I'm going to go f2.8 to start with, something like that. No, I think that looks pretty nice actually. Now I'm putting the stile in the middle of the frame pretty much because it doesn't stand out massively from the wall, and I want viewers to be in no doubt that the stile is the subject. So as well as the shadow depth of field sort of leading the viewer's eye towards it, I think by centering the subject, you just make sure that it doesn't get lost, because there's not a huge amount of contrast over there. There's no light on it, and it is, I mean, basically the same colour as the wall. So I think that works pretty well, but in case it doesn't, I am going to go a bit closer, just to make sure that people are under no illusions that that's what I'm shooting. That's quite nice too. Now the 40 to 50mm thing is, I think, quite a common preference among photographers, because people talk about how it looks natural, and they talk about how it's what the human eye sees, which is quite a contentious and complicated issue, I think, because you've got two eyes and you can look at the corner of each of them if you so desire. So trying to talk about what the human eye sees in terms of focal length, I think, is not massively straightforward. But what people do typically agree on is that 40 or 50mm looks natural. And for me at least, I really, really like that, because sometimes if I see a photo that I really like at that kind of focal length, I forget or don't realise initially that it's a photo. Which, when I say that out loud, sounds stupid, but what I mean to say is that I get immersed in it in a way that I personally don't get immersed in really wide angle shots or super long telephoto shots. So that is probably the main reason I enjoy shooting at what people call standard focal lengths, I suppose. Right, God, I think the sun's going to come out. That's really not ideal. Goodbye, cottage. See you again soon, probably. A note to anyone interested, these WTB byway tyres are not particularly happy on wet grass. I had a good chuckle with myself the other day. I thought I'd try and work out scientifically what my favourite focal length was. So what did I do? I went into my portfolio folder on Lightroom and I added the focal lengths of all 600 odd photos in that folder and then divided it by the number of photos in that folder. And what I got was just over 45 millimeters, which I thought was interesting until I realized that it was always going to be something like that because my favorite focal length is a standard focal length. I shoot either side of it, so the average was always going to be about that. Probably would have been more interesting if my favorite focal length was like 16 mil or 400 mil, but no, it was basically pointless. Then again, what I can say is that of my very favourite photos, a very big percentage of them is 40 or 50 millimeters. So that's probably as scientific as I'm going to get with this. It's more just a feeling. Just put that there. Right, my plan initially was to ride a couple more miles along the road, and then there's a lane that you can follow that kind of hugs the bottom of the mountains. What I'm going to do instead is just cut across because, well, I'm running low on time. I know what I'll do. I'll become a full-time photographer and then I'll have endless amounts of time to focus on my passion. And then, years later, I'll have a baby and all that time will evaporate. Brilliant idea. It actually was. We love Noah very much, but yeah, I'd like more time today. Just trying to see if there's a composition knocking around here. I think there might be. See this rock just here, and then the glitters in the background. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe we'll try that. Hopefully these sheep don't steal my camera. You're not going to steal my camera, are you? Anytime I catch myself talking to sheep, I realise I need calories. Right, well, here is the shot, or the place that I wanted to come for a shot today. I was hoping for some more mood and rain really, but alas, we've not got it. Right, well, when the mood does come, this is the shot, I think. I mean, there is a little bit of mood up there on the glitters, but from here, this tree right in front of us hides the barn. The cars we still would need to clone out, but this shows off the mountains, and I mean, sticking the house on the right hand side of the image, you also get this sweeping road, and yeah, I think this works well. So I shall bank this for a properly rainy day, which today was supposed to be. Right, I've just seen the time. I need to rush home and get my little boy, otherwise I'm going to be in big trouble. Quick, 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 quick. No. Well, as you can probably tell from the mango stains on my t-shirt, I picked up Noah in the nick of time, which is good. But I didn't have time to talk through the other reason that I love shooting kind of between 40 and 50 millimeters-ish, which is that I like to be able to include just a flavour of element of an image rather than all of it. Let me explain. So here is that shot that I imagine I've just shown you, and as you can see a little bit of sky, but enough to know what's going on with the sky. You can see a bit of this country road, but not loads of it. Same for the wall, and you get a nice
perspective of the house, and some mountains as well, without having to include all of them. You get a real sense of what's going on in the scene without having to see the entire scene. And for me at least, that kind of simplifies the scene. Photography for me is a game of subtraction rather than addition. It's a game of seeing a scene and thinking, right, how can I simplify this as much as possible? And I've always found that that's kind of a good leading light for trying to create compelling images, or images that I, at least, find compelling. Now, if we compare this to a 24mm version, as you can see, there's a lot more sky, you get a lot more of this road, and a lot more of this kind of foliage down here. But I don't think it's any more compelling just because you can see more stuff, including more mountains. And in fact, as far as I'm concerned, it's quite the opposite. You get much less impact from the subject, which is the house, and all the other stuff in the frame. Now, obviously, this differs from subject to subject. Some stuff is naturally going to be better with a wider angle, but I find typically that 40 to 50mm really shows off a scene, even if you can't include all of it. In fact, it shows it off because you can't include all of it, because it really makes you focus on the details that matter, and the details that don't matter so much, such as in this case the road and the sky, you can just include a flavour of them, and the viewer can understand what's going on in the scene without the need for you to include everything, which dilutes the impact of the subject. That's kind of how I think about this stuff, and that is why I like those kind of standard focal lengths. Anyway, hopefully that was useful, and a big thank you for watching. And a big thank you also to the sponsor of this week's video, Squarespace. Now, in case you don't know, Squarespace is the service that I use for my website. And as far as I'm concerned, for all photographers, it is a phenomenal tool. Now, you can use it as I do to host your portfolio. You can also have an online store and lots of information pages. And basically any functionality that you can imagine needing from a photographer's website, Squarespace can handle with ease. So much so that somebody like me with no technical skills can update my website in a matter of minutes. In fact, just this morning before I went out shooting, I was adding my Ricoh GR to my gear page, the gear that I use. So yeah, it took no time at all. I also use it for newsletters, although some of you have been on to me asking where this month's newsletter is, and not just this month. I get that question a lot of months because I forget. But yeah, phenomenally simple service to use, and you can check it out for free by going to squarespace.com. And after that, if you'd like to make a purchase, just go to squarespace.com/James and you'll get 10% off that first purchase. Right, next up for me is bath time. Not for me, but for Noah, yeah. Although I could probably do with one as well. I've managed to get hay fever from today in August. I didn't think that seems to be a thing for me, so never mind. I'll see you next time.